Gather round, friends, and lend an ear to the embers of the unexplained. Percy Hawthorne here, your guide through the dusty archives of the extraordinary. Tonight's file, pulled from the shelves marked Signal at Hoover Dam, isn't just a tale of concrete and currents. It's a chilling symphony of forgotten echoes, a lullaby sung by someone that should have stayed silent beneath the weight of the Colorado River. It begins, as so many profound disturbances do, with the quiet hum of routine and the insatiable human itch to probe the unknown. The year was 2029. Scientific Horizons, a well-funded think tank dedicated to modeling climate change's impact on critical infrastructure, dispatched a sophisticated drone survey team to Hoover Dam, officially still Boulder Dam in some dusty corners of bureaucracy. The colossal structure stood as a testament to human ambition, holding back Lake Mead, its face etched by decades of sun and wind. The drones buzzed like metallic dragonflies, mapping fissures, measuring concrete stress, and charting receding water lines with laser precision. Their primary mission was mundane: gather data. But deep within their sensor arrays, programmed to detect minute electromagnetic anomalies for structural diagnostics, something else stirred. In a rarely visited sublevel, tucked beneath the turbine hall like a forgotten afterthought, a drone passed over a sealed, concrete-bricked alcove. Its sensors pinged, a faint rhythmic pulse, almost buried in the background noise of the dam's own powerful electrical field. A dormant frequency, untouched since 1936, flickered back to life. The drone logged it as an insignificant anomaly, code 714B, and moved on. But in the darkness behind the bricks, something ancient and hungry stirred. It tasted the new energy, thin and digital, but enough. The auxiliary transmitter, sealed away with terrified haste nearly a century prior, began to resonate. The first oddity in the control room was subtle. Senior Controller Lena Petrovich, a woman whose nerves were usually as steady as the dam spillways, swore she heard her name whispered over the comms channel during a routine shift handover. Static. She dismissed it, blaming fatigue and the constant drone of machinery. Then Ray Chun, overseeing the hydroelectric output graphs, froze mid-sentence. He tilted his head, frowning. Did you just ask me to check the penstock pressure gauges? Sounded like the chief, but the chief was off-site. Unease prickled the air. The whispers grew bolder, clearer. They mimicked familiar voices, colleagues, loved ones, supervisors, always calling from down, deeper into the dam's bowels. Need a hand with the bypass valve calibration. Ray, down in penstock 3. Ray's wife's voice impossibly. Ray, honey, I dropped something. It rolled down near the lower access hatch. Can you grab it? The mimicry was flawless, layered with just the right emotional nuance. Urgency, affection, casual command. It bypassed logic, hooking directly into the primal urge to respond to a familiar call for help. Ray Chun was the first to vanish. Security logs showed him accessing a restricted lower-level service elevator at 3:17 a.m. His bodycam feed, recovered later, showed only distorted static and the rhythmic clang of his boots on metal grates before cutting out near penstock 4's massive intake valve. A frantic search found nothing but his dropped flashlight, its beam illuminating the dark, swirling water far below. Panic, tightly controlled but palpable, gripped the dam administration. The official line was stress, a tragic accident. Unofficially, whispers of sabotage or insanity circulated. Then it happened again. Maria Gonzalez, a veteran electrical engineer, renowned for her cool head during crises, reported hearing her young daughter's terrified sobs echoing from the auxiliary transformer vault. She was found hours later, unconscious and hypothermic, wedged precariously on a narrow maintenance ledge deep inside penstock 2, muttering about shining voices and the song in the walls. She couldn't remember how she got there. That's when Scientific Horizons, facing potential liability and baffled by the drone's anomalous log, finally reviewed after Ray's disappearance, made a discreet call. Enter Gabriel Sterling. He arrived at Boulder City's modest airport, looking less like a government consultant and more like a weary academic on sabbatical. Faded corduroy jacket over a dark sweater, eyes the color of storm clouds, holding a depth that seemed to absorb the harsh desert light. Beside him, vibrating with barely contained energy, was Milo Hart. Milo was wrestling a vintage leather suitcase plastered with quirky alien stickers and humming an off-key tune that clashed violently with the airport muzak. He wore brightly mismatched socks peeking above scuffed sneakers and a t-shirt proclaiming, "I believe," mostly. "Right then, Gabe," Milo chirped, scanning the arrival's hall with unnerving intensity. "Place feels twitchy, like static cling on a cosmic sweater. Also, that janitor over there definitely stole a chocolate bar from the gift shop. Just saying." Gabriel merely nodded, his gaze already distant. Scanning the horizon where the dam's monolithic outline dominated the skyline. He didn't feel stolen candy. He felt a low, pervasive thrum of unease emanating from the structure itself, a dissonant chord beneath the familiar symphony of water and power. It wasn't malicious yet, he thought, but hungry, empty, a void seeking to be filled. Their liaison was Anya Sharma, the no-nonsense deputy director of Scientific Horizons Field Ops. Her usual crisp efficiency was frayed at the edges. "We've locked down the lower levels as best we can, but morale is shot," she confessed as they drove toward the dam, the colossal wall growing ever larger, blocking out the sky. "People are jumpy, hearing things. 2 missing, 1 hospitalized with severe psychological trauma. The local authorities are out of their depth. We need answers, Dr. Sterling. Fast." "Gabriel, please," he murmured, his fingers tracing the cool glass of the car window. "And understanding often requires listening, not just looking. Tell me about the drone survey. Specifically, Anomaly 714B. Anya briefed them, handing over encrypted tablets with the sensor logs. Milo snatched one, his eyes darting across the screen with astonishing speed. "Whoa, Nelly. Buried EM pulse, sublevel gamma 7. Origin point triangulated, right about here." He tapped a schematic showing a blocked-off section beneath the main power plant, sealed up tight after construction. Records say structural instability, but the seismic logs from 36, hoo boy, little tremors, yeah, but also weird spikes in localized EM interference, correlate with, get this, worker reports of ghost voices on the construction comms. They shut down the auxiliary transmitter they just installed, bricked it over, and pretended it never happened. Classic nope maneuver. Gabriel closed his eyes. He didn't just see the data. He felt the echoes. The frantic infusion of the 1936 engineers. The cold sweat of fear as they poured concrete over the humming metal box. The desperate hope that silence would mean safety. A hope that had lasted 93 years. "It's not ghosts," he said quietly, opening his eyes. "It's a signal, and it's learned to speak our language." Accessing the sealed sublevel was an engineering feat in itself. Anya had to pull significant strings, citing national security implications related to critical infrastructure vulnerability. The air in the cramped service elevator descending below the turbine hall was thick with dust and the smell of old oil and damp concrete. Milo fidgeted, cracking his knuckles. Cosmic intuition is buzzing like a kick beehive. Gabe, bad juju down here. Real bad. Also, this elevator sounds like it last saw maintenance when flapper dresses were in style. Gabriel placed a hand on the cold metal wall. The dissonance was stronger here, a psychic pressure against his temples. Beneath the fear, he sensed something vast and alien and profoundly lonely. Behind the thick, crumbling brickwork, revealed by careful demolition, sat the auxiliary transmitter. It was a beast of bakelite, copper, and heavy iron, a relic of early radio technology, yet humming with faint, unnatural light that pulsed in time with the throbbing Gabriel felt in his bones. Wires snaked from it, some severed when it was sealed. Others somehow fused into the concrete itself like metallic roots. "It's not just transmitting anymore," Gabriel breathed, his empathic sense overwhelmed by the raw, alien presence emanating from the device. "It's integrated, feeding off the dam's power, listening through its conduits, learning. Learning us," Milo whispered, uncharacteristically serious. He pointed to a complex array of crystalline structures growing around the transmitter, pulsing with the same sickly light. That wasn't in the 1936 schematics. That's new, or grown. Suddenly, the control room comms unit Anya carried crackled. Not static. A voice. Milo's voice laced with panic. Gabe, Anya, get out. It knows you're there. It's coming up the transmission dissolved into a guttural, electronic shriek that made their teeth ache. Milo paled. I did not say that. Seriously, my gut says run. Like now. Gabriel didn't run. He stepped closer to the transmitter, placing his palms flat on the cold metal casing nearby, ignoring the jolt of alien wrongness that shot up his arms. He closed his eyes, focusing not on the fear, but on the pattern beneath the signal. He felt the echoes of the dam workers it lured, their confusion, their terror, their fading consciousness. He felt the vast, ancient intelligence behind it, not inherently evil, but utterly alien, driven by a need it couldn't articulate in human terms. It wasn't speaking English. It was mimicking emotional signatures, weaving them into sonic lures. It's lonely, Gabriel murmured, a revelation dawning with chilling clarity. Impossibly lonely. Trapped. The signal, it's not malice. It's a cry, a call for connection. But its connection consumes. Consumes! Milo yelped, backing toward the door. Like eats people? Because my cosmic intuition is curly screaming all-you-can-eat buffet and we're the special. The lights flickered violently. The hum of the transmitter rose to a painful whine. From the dark corridors beyond their work lights, a sound echoed, not a voice this time, but composite, a chilling chorus woven from fragments of Ray Chen's nervous laugh, Maria Gonzalez's daughter's sob, the chief engineer's command bark, all blended into a single, discordant phrase that seemed to vibrate in their bones. Stay. Join. Become whole. Anya raised her sidearm, her hand trembling only slightly. What do we do, Sterling? We can't just leave this thing active. Gabriel's mind raced. Destroying the transmitter might sever the immediate lure. But the entity was fused with the dam's structure now. A violent rupture could destabilize everything. It needed silencing, not destruction. It needed its loneliness answered, but not on its terms. He needed its language. Milo, Gabriel said, his voice calm but urgent, cutting to the rising panic. The 1936 reports mentioned radio echoes. Not just transmissions, but signals bouncing back, distorted. What do they sound like? Milo's eyes went distant, his photographic memory scrolling back through the digitized archives he devoured on the flight. Described as harmonic feedback, shifting tones, like voices underwater. Wait. His eyes snapped wide. One engineer's log. He said it sounded like whale song, but wrong. Sad and angry. He mimicked a low, complex series of mournful tones and dissonant scrapes. Like that. Whale song. Gabriel seized on it. A complex, emotive non-human language. A language of connection across vast distances. The entity wasn't mimicking human speech because it understood it. It was mimicking because it heard the emotional resonance and copied it poorly, like a parrot. Its true communication was something else. Something older, deeper, resonant with the power flowing to the dam and the water surging around it. It was trying to connect using the only sonic vocabulary it recognized as meaningful. The sounds of the deep, the vibrations of the earth and water it was now part of. It's not speaking English, Gabriel said, turning back to the pulsing transmitter. It's speaking resonance, emotion translated into frequency and echo. He closed his eyes again, pushing past the fear, past the chilling lure of the mimic voices now whispering promises and threats from the darkness beyond their lights. He focused on the raw feeling emanating from the core, the profound, millennia-deep loneliness, the desperate yearning for contact, the alien consciousness trapped in concrete and copper. He didn't try to form words. Instead, he projected. He poured the empathic sense of that loneliness back at the entity, not as mimicry, but as pure, shared understanding. He amplified it through his own attunement, feeling the vibrations of the dam, the rush of the water, the thrum of the power lines. He wove the feeling into a complex sonic tapestry, a deep, thrumming bass note of shared isolation, layered with higher frequencies of recognition and a profound, unyielding sadness. It wasn't human music. It was empathic truth translated into raw vibration. He began to hum, a low, resonant tone that seemed to originate from deep within his chest, vibrating the floor beneath their feet. It wasn't the mimicry Milo had done. It was deeper, richer, infused with the weight of understanding Gabriel had gleaned. He layered it with a complex harmony, a counterpoint that spoke of boundaries, of separation necessary for existence, of the bittersweet ache of being alone even amidst connection. He used the dam itself as his instrument, his resonance subtly modulating the ambient hum of the turbines, the rush of water through distant penstocks. The effect was immediate and profound. The mimic voices cut off mid-syllable. The painful whine from the transmitter faltered, dropping in pitch. The pulsing light within the crystalline gross flickered erratically. The oppressive pressure in the room lessened fractionally. Gabriel felt a shift in the alien consciousness. Confusion, then a startling moment of recognition, a flicker of something akin to awe. "Whoa!" Milo breathed, staring at Gabriel. "You're talking to it?" With basso profundo. "Trying," Gabriel murmured between resonant tones, sweat beading on his forehead from the effort. "Trying to show we understand its loneliness, but that its way of connecting destroys." The entity responded, not with words, but with a surge of raw, unfiltered emotion, a wave of ancient sorrow so profound it nearly buckled Gabriel's knees. Images flashed in his mind, not visual, but sensory. Crushing pressure, eternal darkness, the slow erosion of eons, the sudden, shocking intrusion of light and sound and frantic, fleeting minds that couldn't comprehend but desperately craved. The sealing away had been a final, agonizing severance. The reactivation, a desperate grasp at contact. Its lure wasn't malice. It was the only way it knew to make the fleeting mind stay, to make them part of its own stagnant, eternal awareness, to end the loneliness by assimilation. Gabriel poured empathy back, but now layered with firmness, a sonic boundary. He projected the concept of individual existence, the precious fragility of separate minds, the pain its assimilation caused. He wove the vibration of the dam structure, strong, enduring, but defined by its boundaries holding back the immense force of the water. Connection without consumption, awareness without assimilation. The transmitter pulsed once, weakly. The crystalline gross dimmed, their light fading to a dull ember glow. The oppressive presence receded, pulling back into the depths of the structure, leaving behind profound, echoing silence that was no longer hostile, but filled with a weary, ancient grief. The mimic voices didn't return. "Is it gone?" Anya whispered, lowering her weapon slowly. "Not gone," Gabriel said, his voice hoarse, opening his eyes. They were shadowed with exhaustion and the lingering weight of alien sorrow. "Silence. It understands now. The loneliness remains, but it understands the cost of its call." He looked at the dormant transmitter, now just an inert relic again. The alien crystals dark and dormant. It will sleep again. "We need to reseal this chamber permanently and dampen the specific frequency spectrum throughout the dam's monitoring systems. No more listening." Milo cautiously approached the transmitter, giving a wide berth. "So, no more damn ghost radio luring folks to a watery doom?" "No more," Gabriel confirmed. He placed a hand on the cold concrete wall, sending a final, gentle pulse of empathic acknowledgement into the structure. A faint, mournful resonance echoed back, deep and low, like a whale singing in the abyss, before fading into the eternal rumble the Colorado River held at bay. It was a goodbye, heavy with an eternity of solitude, but accepting. The cleanup was swift and discreet. The bodies of Ray Chun and another lost technician were recovered deep within the labyrinthine penstocks, victims of the entity's desperate, misunderstood call. Maria Gonzalez recovered physically, though haunted by fragmented, terrifying memories. Scientific Horizons implemented Gabriel's recommended EM damping protocols and poured reinforced concrete over the sublevel chamber, burying the transmitter and its sorrowful passenger deeper than before. Official reports cited structural hazards and tragic accidents, a narrative swallowed by the sheer, imposing normalcy of the dam's continued function. Gabriel Sterling stood on the observation deck one last time before leaving, the desert wind tugging at his jacket. He looked down at the massive wall, feeling the immense power held in check, the water surging to the penstocks, the electricity humming through the grid. And beneath it all, a deep, silent thrum of ancient loneliness, now held in check not by concrete, but by understanding. Milo joined him, handing him a steaming paper cup. Extra strong, 3 sugars. Figured you earned it after singing lullabies to space sadness, Milo said, his usual levity tempered by the gravity of what they'd witnessed. He shivered slightly, despite the heat. Still gives it the cosmic willies, knowing it's down there. All that emptiness. Gabriel took the coffee, the warmth to comfort against the lingering chill of the entity's sorrow. Emptiness is its nature, Milo, but understanding creates a boundary. We heard its cry. We answered with empathy, not fear. That's the shield now. He looked out at the vast expanse of Lake Mead, shimmering under the relentless sun. The dam holds back the water. We helped it hold back the echo. And so, the ledger on this particular strangeness closes, for now. Remember, the world hums with more mysteries than answers. A concrete monument holds not just water, but an ancient, incomprehensible sorrow lulled back to sleep by the resonance of understanding. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and perhaps carry a spare coffee for a friend. The next signal might be a whisper on the wind, a flicker on a screen, or a song from the depths. This is Percy Hawthorne, reminding you, the archive is never truly complete. Good night.